Hi everyone, Robert here, and welcome to the Impact Wrestling review from June 7, 2018. So the show opened up with a Impact Tag Team title match. The champions, CNE, DAC, and Andrew Everett versus Drago and Aerostar. If you have watched these people work before, you know what was in store for you. A lot of high flying action. But at the end, DAC was able to hit the CDE on Aerostar, and then Andrew Everett hit the 630 on Aerostar to finish him up, and that was it. As far as the match go, I did like it, and there were two details that I like a lot about this match. Number one, that before the match started, Drago and Aerostar were talking all the details out. That is something that I do like because that is something that adds to the atmosphere of a title match. The other detail that I like a lot is that Impact Wrestling finally decided to use once again the slow motion camera and take advantage of the fact that they are a pre-recorded show. And by the way, I also enjoyed that this match was quite long, about 17 minutes long. Next, we're greeted with the video package of the main event of the evening, Sami Callihan versus Eddie Edwards in the Woods. Next, we got a backstage segment with Sanjay Dutt and Petey Williams, and the seeds of doubts are inside the head of Sanjay Dutt, and now he's having doubts on his friend Petey Williams, and Petey was obviously offended by that, and he decided to walk out on Sanjay Dutt. So that is an interesting twist on this whole situation of the mystery attacker. Next, we got a video package of the new knockout champion Su Yung, and I got a question for you, my audience. Should Su Yung have been part of this episode of Impact Wrestling? Do you feel her presence was missed during this episode? Let me know in the comment section below. Next, we got the segment, in my humble opinion, of the evening. We got LAX at the clubhouse. And guess who's back once again? Diamante. She arrives and she's back on television, and she reunited with Santana and Ortiz. And she started to have questions about Conan and homicide, and she questions the convenience, let's see, of Eddie Kingston showing up, and she was skeptical about his motivations inside of the Latin American exchange LAX. So now there is a brewing civil war inside of LAX, and this is a very interesting angle, something to look forward on the next episodes of Impact Wrestling. Obviously, we got a LAX match with Eddie Kingston, LAX, the Latin American Exchange, Santana y Ortiz versus Trevor Lee and Kayla Conley. By the way, there is something that I find extremely fascinating, is that the Cult of Lee, Trevor Lee and Kayla Conley, they are like the litmus test when it comes down to the tag team division in Impact Wrestling. If you are above average, you get to beat them. If you are below average, you take a L from them. So obviously LAX is once again motivated, and they were able to beat the Cult of Lee with a double team cutter in about 8 minutes long. Good match, good progression towards the storyline of the Latin American Exchange LAX. Next, we got Eli Drake, Fat of Life. So the top 5 dummies in Impact Wrestling are the following: the Impact Zone fans, that is one that I agree with. Number 4, it is Austin Aries. Number 3 is Impact Management. I think he should have singled out Don Callis. I think that would have been a lot more funny. Dummies number 2 was all of us, the fans. So you that are watching me, you are a dummy according to Eli Drake, and the dummy number one is Moose. I cannot agree with that. Moose comes across not as the sharpest knife in the drawer, but that's beside the point. So obviously that insult require Moose to show up. So obviously he came in to save the day, but he was attacked by Moose, by Drake, obviously, and Eli Drake was able to low blow him, and after that he attacked him with the gravy train, and after that he Eli Drake slammed the podium onto Moose. And that is the main event for next week for the number one contender spot for Slammiversary. Eli Drake versus Moose. So good angle, a short payoff from week A to week B. Something, to look forward next week. Next we got Brian Cage versus Raji Raju. This was about a minute long match, obviously a squash match. Brian Cage was able to hit Raji Raju with the weapon X. That is like a gory special face buster for those who are real are wrestling fans that know every single move. That is a gory special face buster. And after that, obviously Matt Sydal came in because if you remember, Brian Cage is the new number one contender for the X Division title. So they face each other and they are gonna be wrestling next week. So Matt Sydal obviously decided to attack him, kind of saying, hey, you are a vacuous person. I am the one who is enlightened, and I could open your third eye. So obviously, Cage got triggered by that and decided to attack Matt Sydal and pose with the X Division title. Good angle. That is gonna be happening next week. Let's see how things happen and progress. I'm guessing if Max Sydal loses the belt, I think Austin Aries is retaining at Slammiversary, because I think one of the matches that I would love to see down the line is Brian Cage cashing in Option C versus the man who popularized Option C, Austin Aries. But there could be a whole different panorama when it comes down to Impact Wrestling. And speaking of Austin Aries, he got like a little Sky interview with Josh Matthews. Not the best production value when it comes down to Austin Aries. He was on the other side of the light. But that's besides the point. He thinks that Eli Drake might win next week. And even if Moose wins, he doesn't have the mental game, the mental power to overcome Austin Aries. After that, we're shown with clips of the Slammiversary press conference that happened in Toronto. And please don't watch that if you do not want to be spoiled of what is gonna be happening in the next weeks of Impact Wrestling. Next we got a Madison Rayne video package, and then she said that she wants to get the title for the sixth time. Please no, don't do it in Impact Wrestling. I don't want her to be champion once again, especially as a babyface. No, don't do that in Impact Wrestling. There's a lot of talent that you have over there. Don't put the belt on Madison Rayne. Next we got Tessa Blanchard being interviewed, and Kiera decided to arrive, and point that even though she is a big talker, she did not deliver, she flopped. So obviously Tessa got triggered by that, and she decided to attack Kiera Hogan. So once again, we're back to Tessa Blanchard versus Kiera Hogan. So let's see where things happen and if there's a new twist, because my opinion about this whole thing is not that big. It is like middle of the ground, middle road type of a take or leave when it comes down to Tessa Blanchard and Kiera Hogan. I want to see more of a different combination. I am not a fan of seeing repeated matches, and that is something that Impact Wrestling it is great at doing, trying to keep things fresh by not repeating and overdoing match. Next, we got Moose being interviewed backstage, and he said that Eli Drake fucked it up by attacking him, and he's gonna get at him next week. So we are greeted with the main event of the evening. This was like a horror movie. This was an unsanctioned street fight in the woods. Eddie Edwards versus Sami Callihan. Obviously, you know what you're gonna get into. This was very similar to the Hunt for Willow, who was the original, broken thing. If you don't know, go ahead and Google search that and thank me later. So obviously you got Eddie Edwards, walking like a madman in the woods, finding Jay Chris, attacking him. Then he ended up choking Jake and throwing him like in the back of his truck. I think would that be considered like a kidnapping? So then he decided to find Sami Callihan, and they start to fighting. Then Sami Callihan grabs like a horn of a cow or something like that, and he tried to attack Eddie Edwards, but Edwards was able to fight it up, and then Edwards was the one who grabbed that horn and put that on top of Sami Callihan, obviously making him bleed and wear the crimson mask. So Eddie Edwards decided, I'm done with you. I'm gonna destroy you, wipe you from the face of the earth, gonna kill you. So at that time, Tommy Dreamer and Alicia show up and stop him, allowing Sami Callihan to escape Eddie Edwards. And Edwards got so mad that he attacked Tommy Dreamer, and he was yelling that this was not over, leaving his wife Alicia and Dreamer out in the woods as he went running like a madman, trying to find his arch enemy, Sami Callihan. As for this was pretty good. This was something that I was missing from Impact Wrestling, that creative outlet, that created atmosphere, that guts of trying something different. This was something different, and also this was recorded on location, not on the Impact Zone. So obviously that adds a lot more character into this show. As my overall thoughts of this show, solid show. There was a couple of misses, especially in the knockouts division. I think I'm expecting something more out of, Don Callis and Scott Damore when it comes down to the knockouts. I think there could be something better. They can do a better job. But outside of that, this show was an easy to watch show. This is what they should be aiming for. The only thing I think it is missing is a little bit more heavyweights in the show. That is something that I think they are lacking for the time being. So let's see how things, develop. And as for me, I'm happy as a customer of Impact Wrestling and a commentator on the internet. So this is it for me. Make sure that you're subscribed if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you the Wednesday for the Impact Wrestling preview show and Impact Wrestling news roundup. So that's it. Goodbye and thanks for listening.